So the very first thing to kind of get good at versus Ganon is edge guarding. Edge guarding efficiently. Where it's similar to Falcon, where if you're not edge guarding Ganon, it's like, bro, you have to win neutral like 10 more times if you can't get this edge guard. But in many ways, edge guarding Ganon is a lot easier because he falls a lot slower, and calling out his down B is a lot easier since it has worse range. And if you just go out there and up B the lag of down B, Ganon should just be dead most of the time. Ganon does have slightly better survival than Falcon in some spots, but it's negligible based on like just how bad his recovery is. If you down tilt his recovery, you like dare his recovery. Just being efficient with your edge guards overall against Ganon, that's like the first key step. And the second key steps is also tech chasing well. Very similar to Falcon in many ways. It's almost like a clones or something. Where if you are able to F throw Nair DI in, or if they DI down away, you F throw F smash Kodo chase setup, or like tech chase well, reaction tech chase, whatever the setup is. If you're able to do that well, you're gonna get a lot. You're gonna maybe even set up for an edge guard and kill Ganon efficiently. And the third thing I'd like to emphasize is that, okay, so 3A. How about I put it this way? Space Nair horizontally. Where if Ganon is at like ground level at you, you could space a Nair, like tipper Nair distance, where if Ganon shields it, he can't shield grab it or punish you out of shield at all. And if Ganon ever tries to go in with like a fair or some sort, he just automatically loses. So if you space a Nair, that's like a really winning position for you as Marth. And 3B, spacing fair is good vertically, where if Ganon does try to like angle a full out bear at you, or playing the platform game, then you want to space like a diagonal fair so you can't just let Ganon get in easily versus you. Where like basically a lot of these setups is going to be in your favor, where it's either you set up a stalemate or you just straight up win those positions, spacing a Nair and fair depending on wherever the Ganon is. So if you space these two correctly, you will just give Ganon a really hard time and kill him off of a lot of edge guards. And now there's this killer matchup, DK, often touted as the Marth killer. But what people don't know is I actually do have a winning record versus Wrangler, and even then, I don't think I actually really played some of these rules right. And what I mean by this is that in some ways, DK is kind of similar to Sheik, where you want to juggle vertically versus this character. Because DK does not have good hitboxes directly below him. Like, his dare is very similar to Sheik in regards that it comes out late. It is a little bit better of a move, but at the same time, it's so laggy. And a lot of times, it's just so reliable for Marth to set up like an up air directly below DK. And if you think that dare is coming out, then like just be like a little diagonal to him, so you weave around dare. So it's a combination of being being vertically below him and being mobile with your juggles. But overall, like primarily being directly below DK in terms of juggles will do you really well. The second part is also making your reads of edge guards, where if you find that DK, like, cause he has like surprisingly pretty good mix-ups of up being towards the stage, but maybe you could find a setup where you could dare in place, or find an opportunity to just grab ledge or stay on stage and F smash. You're gonna find that it's gonna happen a lot, where you find DK in this recovery position, especially if you're juggling well and you're somewhat ledge trapping well. I don't think it's a big topic, but it does happen. You're going to find your edge guard opportunities by either the combination of grabbing ledge, calling out a double jump dare, or staying on stage and F smashing. You will find a good rate when you find your setups. And the third thing I'd like to emphasize is staying below dare. Because a lot of DK's setups in neutral involves his bear. But do you know what Bear loses to? It loses to if you're just directly below him. And a lot of DKs love to set up like a full up Bear, and if you react to the full up and get directly below him, he actually cannot do very much. Like his fair is a slow move, his dare is also a slow move. So if you just position yourself directly below him rather than trying to challenge Bear itself, DK has really hard time getting in. Trying to stay below DK when he plays like the platform vertical game is key here. And if you are forced to deal with Bear, then you have to play mix-ups. You're playing the DK's strongest suit, whereas if you play against like if you find positions to be directly below DK, you're gonna have a lot easier time dealing with a lot of neutral interactions. I know Young Link and Link are two different matchups, but for the sake of time, I'm just gonna categorize these two because they're also pretty similar to how Marth would play it anyways. So I kind of got bopped in this matchup a few times, and there's actually a couple reasons for that. And for a big reason is one, I did not limit recoveries. There is some setups where Marth has guaranteed edge guards, such as when Link can only up B, you can counter it. When you grab the ledge and Link has the air dodge, I don't think Link is capable of doing an instant grapple. And there are some spots where I was too afraid to go out there and bearing the air dodge. And if you bear that kind of air dodge, Link is just dead. He's super dead. If you limit recovery and like make certain reads with it, you will have a much more higher efficiency in killing Link. And same thing applies to Young Link. In fact, Young Link's worse about this, where he has even more limited grapple recoveries. Like, I guess he can air dodge, which is a point in his favor, but he doesn't have as much of a length to recovery. So same thing applies to both of these. And whenever you find Link in a juggle spot, a big mistake that I made versus Aklo is not being mobile with your juggles, because you gotta really respect Link when he's directly below you, because his dare is such a threatening hitbox, and that's why you want to play diagonal. You want to be a little diagonal, you want to move a little, you want to make it look like Link could hit you, because Link is actually not great at getting down. But if you are moving with your juggles, you're going to make it a lot harder for Link to reversal you, and also you're going to find opportunities yourself with these juggles. And the third part, I would say, is spacing fair. If you ever find yourself like what is like the right spot to play against Link, finding opportunities to space fair or nair. If you space a tipper, nair, or fair, Link actually cannot shield grab that, and your fair has longer range than his fair, so it's like a winning zoning position if you space a fair or nair at his shield. And an addendum to that is shield, wave dash, hit his projectiles. If you shield wave dash, you'll probably be fine against a lot of his projectiles. Like, you know, you can shoot as much bombs and arrows and boomerangs as he wants, but if you shield wave dash in, you're closing space, and you're naturally making it a lot riskier for Link to spam more projectiles. It's kind of like closing in distance versus Peach in some regards. It's a little bit more complex here, but if you shield wave dash inwards, you'll probably be fine, and the Link is forced to engage with like fair, nair, or whatever, and then that's when spacing a fair is better, which I forgot to mention that fair is really good at dealing with full hop nair in. Instead of trying to pivot grab that, whatever, fair that nair. So, and a lot of these concepts also apply to Young Link. I guess Young Link is a little bit more mobile, so you're probably more likely to chase down Young Link, but with regular Link, just like spacing well is gonna do you a lot of favors. And the last one that I want to go over is Game & Watch, where Game & Watch is a little bit of a strange character. He seems like a weird character to fight against, and in some ways seems like he's a better version of Marth until that you see is not, especially when you edge guard him well. Like, you react with your edge guards. When he can't double jump to the ledge, if you kind of get familiarized with what height he has to up B at, uh, depending on how late they up B, you can kind of tell if they are trying to sweet spot it or they're overshooting the ledge. And once you kind of are familiar with the distance of how low that they up B, you determine whether or not to F smash or grab ledge. And once you are familiar enough of how low they need to go, you can often just grab ledge or F smash them. And it's that simple. It's like actually a guaranteed flowchart if you react well. I guess there might be like an ambiguous angle, but hey, it's also hard for them. And you could potentially cover both edge guards by daring in place as well. So there's that possibility as well. I guess maybe you could counter as well. Like I didn't put too much thought into it, but like I edge guard most game watches fine doing this. He has a good hitbox going down, but it's a very committal hitbox. It's I don't think you could L cancel dare if I recall correctly, and you could just because he has good hitboxes, but they're committal. You want to be a mobile juggler there, just move around his hitboxes and dash in fair, and Game Watch kind of struggles. And the last thing, no, not the last thing, but another really important takeaway against Ganon Watch to really exploit is beat fair from ledge, wave dash back forward smash at ledge. I say this because it's so common for Ganon Watches to fair from ledge because it's such a good hitbox. But Marth's one move to outspace fair is to wave dash back tipper forward smash. And if you ever read that once, you see a Game Watch fair from ledge one too many times, you wave dash back forward smash that, and the Game Watch is dead because you are getting a tipper S smash, and Game Watch is a very light character where if you hit that bubble and he's dead. If you space a wave dash back forward smash, that's a very good rule to keep in mind. If you ever struggle with fair from ledge, just do a wave dash back forward smash, and they dead. One more rule that I'd like to emphasize is kind of establishing a mix-up versus, Game Watch is fair. It seems like it's a broken move at first until you realize what counters it. And you want to shield versus fair. And then as a mix-up, then you zone. Where it's not exactly straightforward to zone versus Game & Watch at first, because it seems like you can't outzone Game & Watch's fair. Until you realize that his fair is actually negative on shield. If you shield his fair, you could very easily shield grab it, and his fair is negative on hit. Shielding it as your go-to is like the way to play this mix-up. And sometimes Game & Watch, they'll try to play around the shield by daring. Daring is positive on shield, and that's when he starts winning those interactions until you realize that dare is not a good zoning tool, and you could use all of your other sword hitboxes to beat dare. So that's like the kind of little RPS that goes on in the Game & Watch matchup is to beat fair, you got a shield, and to beat anything else the Game & Watch has, you have your sword. So that's kind of like a little rule to keep in mind against Game & Watch in order to win a lot of interactions versus him. And yeah, that's I think I said a lot for this stream, where I didn't really go over the low tiers. These are basically like the mid tiers that I went over with Ices, Yoshi, Pikachu, Samus, Luigi, Doc, Mario, Ganondorf, DK, Young Link, and Game & Watch. And yeah, I think these are like probably matchups that are very different in many regards. And again, notice that the theme here is like the first rule I put in for each of these is like understanding what would kill them. Being a mobile juggler, edge guarding well, ledge trapping well, down tilting up B, being efficient with mana kills. Once again, emphasizing that punish game is so important across all these matchups. They're all different. It's not like, you can just wave shine, up smash all these or whatever, up to up air. You gotta learn like the specific setups. And that's part of the challenge of Marth is getting familiar with all these to some degree and see how well you can do against these mid tiers where they force you to play a little differently and it's up to you to execute it well.